Sat Sri Akal. The new DLC, Dynasties of India, is bringing us 3 new civs along with reworking the Indians into the Hindustanis. Each civ comes with new unique units, techs, and bonuses, so there's a lot to look forward to. Many of you have seen the tech trees for each civ and pictures of their unique units, but no gameplay has been released until now. In this video, I'll show you each of the unique units and give some examples of how we might see these units used. On screen, you can see the cost of each unit as well as the cost to upgrade them. Every unique unit has some kind of interesting ability, which you'll be seeing soon. My favorite is the Ratha, which can change from a ranged attack to melee mid-fight. This is why it's shown twice here. The melee attack does more damage, but their ranged attack can be used from a safe distance. Before getting into the units, let's take a quick look at the Hindustani Caravan Sarai. It costs 175 wood and 50 stone, and takes up an area of 4, which is the same size as markets. Its function is to heal and speed up nearby trade carts. It heals pretty fast, so passing by just one of them on each trip will keep your trade carts healthy and happy. Let's take a look at how the Gujaras are going to be scouting in the early game. They start with a camel scout, which evolves into a camel rider at level 32, when you reach castle age. This unit is balanced by the fact that it has the same movement speed as scout cavalry in the Dark Age, and only deals 2 damage with no bonus. In a one-on-one fight, the scout cav takes 23 hits to kill, and the camel scout takes 24 hits to kill. It's a close fight, but even if the cav gets the first hit, the camel will still just barely win. In Feudal Age, the story changes. Scout cavalry start moving faster than the camel, but the camel only gets left behind literally. Camel scouts in Feudal Age have their damage increased to 4 and gain some bonus damage against cavalry. Scout cav want nothing to do with camel scouts once Feudal Age hits. Camel scouts still cost the same 55 food, 60 gold as they do in Castle Age, so they'll be a bit difficult to mass, but I can see adding a few of these in to chase down those pesky scouts running around your base. Once the Gujaras hit Castle Age, any camel scouts they have automatically turn into the camel rider that we're used to. Okay, next up is the coolest unit in the game. The Bengalis' Ratha is the solution for people who just make one of everything. That's because this unit is one of everything, and when I say one of everything, I mean one of 2 things. The Ratha is a cavalry archer that can switch to using a sword mid-fight. This changes it to be more similar to a knight. Since it has these 2 modes with different attacks, it makes sense that it benefits from archer attack in ranged mode and cavalry attack in melee mode. The armor that it uses is archer armor in both modes. Cavalry armor does nothing for it. Being a cavalry archer means it's affected by all the usual archery range and stable techs like husbandry and Parthian tactics. The Bengalis lack thumb ring, but make up for it with their unique tech pikes, which increases their Ratha's attack speed like thumb ring would. The Ratha fights evenly against a knight in melee mode, but with a bit of kiting in ranged mode before switching to melee mode to engage, they can tip the scales in their favor. Knights move a bit faster than Rathas, so you have to be careful not to get caught too far away from the safety of your castle. Back to the Gujaras, we have the Shivamsha Rider. This unit has stats kind of like a light cavalry, so it dies pretty hard to knights, but that's okay, because it would rather pick on units that don't just bump into each other when trying to attack, namely the crossbowmen. In the description, it states that the Shivamsha Rider can dodge arrows. I know some of you are looking forward to the sick dance moves that your units will do to dodge arrows, but I'm sad to say that instead of dodging arrows, they more accurately absorb the arrows. This means that incoming arrows do no damage while the Shivamsha Rider has charge. Each arrow that is absorbed chips away at the charge until it's depleted, at which point damage will start being dealt. The charge regenerates even in combat, so the Shivamsha Rider is especially good against smaller numbers of archers. There's another unit in this DLC with a charge, but it works like the Coutelier. The Dravidian Urumi Swordsman does a big initial attack and then some weaker attacks while the charge is on cooldown. Their fighting capabilities are roughly as strong as Longswordsmen. Since they're a bit more expensive than Longswordsmen, you have to be utilizing their charge attack effectively. This should be a bit more difficult compared to the Coutelier, since hit and run tactics require your units to be faster than your opponents. When in doubt, there's always a certain siege unit that you can go for to increase your infantry unit's mobility though. Speaking of units that you can load into clown cars, the Gujaras get the Chakram thrower, who definitely looks like he belongs in a circus. This unit has a piercing attack similar to the bolt that scorpions fire. One-on-one against most units, the Chakram thrower should struggle, but against units that bunch up, especially infantry, they should do well. Positioning and micro will be key with this unit. The final unique unit from the castle also has a kind of piercing attack. The Hindustanis, which are the reworked Indian Civ, get their Elephant Archer unique unit replaced with the Gaum. This unit, like the Urumi, is just about longswordsman strength one-on-one. Where the Gaum shines is in larger scale battles, where they can make use of their very long spear to hit multiple enemies at once. Unlike the Kamayuk, Gaums don't get extra range, so they have to be right next to the enemy to attack. It's just that their attack does damage to units behind the main target as well. Even though the Elephant Archer was kicked out of the Indian army, it didn't just vanish. It became a regional unit, meaning that 3 of the new civs have access to it from the archery range. This did come at some cost though, namely going from 3 to 2 pierce armor. They're still pretty tanky versus archers, just not quite as much as they were. The Dravidian Elephant Archer can just barely win a 1v1 against a Mangonel if it has full Castle Age techs, including the unique tech Medical Core, which lets their Elephant Archer slowly regenerate HP. If this DLC wasn't Chonk City enough for you, they added siege elephants into the game. It's the only unit that costs food that can be built from the siege workshop, and it effectively replaces the ram for all 4 new civs. The siege elephant benefits from all upgrades that affect battle elephants. This includes cavalry attack and armor, bloodlines, and husbandry. Siege engineers has no effect for them. Since they replaced the ram, it's worth comparing the 2 units. The armored elephant, which is the Castle Age version, performs almost identically to the battering ram, but the siege elephant is more like a capped ram. Siege rams still take out buildings the fastest. The splash damage of siege elephants is also less than siege rams, just like capped rams. One of the main advantages of siege elephants, other than looking cool, is that they move faster than rams. Just reaching the building faster can indirectly lead to more damage being dealt. The siege elephant also introduces a unique interaction with monks. Monks need to be standing next to the elephant to start a conversion, but they don't need redemption. I imagine monks won't be the greatest counter to this unit, as the siege elephant can reasonably fight back against the monks, especially if there are a few elephants together. The final unique unit to see is the Therisa die. It's an Imperial Age ship unique to the Dravidians. It specializes in fighting galleons, though its large unit model and high HP make it not too bad against demolition ships as well. Like galleons, it performs poorly against fire ships. And that does it for this DLC preview. I'm excited to use all of these new units in ranked games starting next week. I'll be uploading more content focusing on the DLC this week, so if you have any questions about it, leave a comment and I might include the answer in an upcoming video.